I muted. Gosh darn it. I hadn't done that in a while. Welcome to Mondays with Max, everybody. Who was the first person on their toes telling me I'm muted? Who had muted tonight in the pool? That's what I want to know. Anyway, thank you all for your patience for those 30 seconds. Welcome to Mondays with Max. As I was saying, I am well rested. I've been off for a few days from work and have to go back tomorrow, unfortunately, but it was nice having a few days off with the family and seeing everybody that I don't get to see that often. So anyway, son actually went back. He's already back home in Alabama. He left this morning. So about a 10-hour drive down from here to there. So anyway, let's see who is here. Well, who was here was UK Miners Club. He was first, but he had to go to bed because I actually posted this a lot earlier than I normally do since I didn't have to work. So Retro Mike Tech, now he is here. No, don't talk about Dimo. I will be talking about Dimo. Gaming with Smokey Dan, Second TL Mining, Travelers Travels, Cody Johnson, Chuck Danger, Mike the Miner, Taines. We'll talk about him in just a second. Chum Change. Oh, he didn't forget. And he didn't like go to sleep before my stream. Anyway, Boinker139, 4J, King Mining, the City, Automatic Beats, the Mining King. Thank you for being here, sir. I hope you are standing at attention. Geek of All Trades, Gordon Murray, Paduac Miner, Jack Boone, Big Wooly, good to see you, sir. Howdy, y'all. K-Trim, DJ Mines, yo. Let's see. Crypto Perks, Integra Guy. Oh my gosh, did you see the spike in electricity tonight? It hit a 5-minute time of it. Like, I know I saw it hit 37.5 cents a kilowatt hour. It ended up the hour at like 15 point something. So yeah, that was quite the shock today. Sorry, where did I leave off here? Steven Cicero, Shides, that's how you pronounce it. Galaxy 9 Synthesis, and Chris Rolling, AC Mining, Sloth Squatch, Patrick Guyan, good to see you, sir. And I think Crypto Tito, Hawk Crypto Mining, and of course, Sunflower Mama is here. So, all right, that's probably record time for me in reading that off. But anyway, all righty, well, let's get right to it. The ETH glitch. A lot of people have been talking about it, like, oh gosh, is it, is ETH having major issues and all that kind of stuff. And as I had predicted, and because it's not like I predicted it because, I'm some soothsayer or something, but it always happens after a major fork. Something, at least one thing happens after each major fork. After 1559, there was a major glitch that caused somebody to lose like over, hundreds of thousands of dollars because they paid so much in gas fees to do a very small transaction. That was a glitch, obviously, that one person suffered. I don't know if they ever got reimbursed or whatever, but bottom line is they had to fix that one-off situation. And that's what you run into whenever you have new software. You test for as much as you can. You test for 99.9%, but you're always going to have that one outside outlier of a situation that you haven't tested for. Not saying you can't test it for it, but if you can't predict it, it's an outlier that's untested. And at some point, you're going to find out what you didn't test for. And that's what they found out last week. And so what did they do? They went to both of those clients, which was, again, the reason why the blockchain didn't stop was because the execution clients didn't have the issue. It was the consensus clients that had the issue. So Lighthouse was just fine. Teku and Prysm were the two that had the problem. That was greater than 50% of the consensus, and thus that's why it halted. So they figured out a way to fix it, and the clients have already been updated. Again, once you have the outlier, you can identify very quickly why it happened and then do something to prevent it. It's just the fact that if you can't predict the outlier, you don't know what the outlier is, you don't know what to fix. So anyway, so they were very quick to respond. I didn't particularly like the way that they responded, which was like, nothing to see here, we're all good. It's like, come on, guys, be genuine about it. Yes, we're good, we're fine. It wasn't good what happened. This is what we've done to fix it. We're sorry. It may not be the last outlier, but we're going to respond to it in the exact same way. It's not catastrophic. The blockchain will continue when we run into these things. The key thing is the execution client has been around for a lot longer. I mean, the execution client was there with proof of work. So these have changed, but the substance of each of those execution clients hasn't changed. The consensus clients are very new in comparison. So that's why you're going to run into more of these issues. Now, what I do find interesting is my understanding, and somebody correct me if they don't have the same understanding, is that when they go to sharding, the execution client is going to go away, and it's only going to be the consensus client. That's my understanding. This merge that happened was a merging of the execution client to work with the consensus client, and that was a quick way to get to proof of stake. The full intention was to get completely off that execution client. So to take that away completely and go to consensus client only, that maybe isn't fully proven, at least not as robustly as the execution client, that to me is a concern. So, but who knows? I mean, if we're talking 2 years before we get to sharding to where they actually go ahead and do that, well, okay, then it has been, tested and robust and all that kind of stuff. So it really just depends on how quickly they decide to move. It may take a little bit of the confidence away. But anyway, bottom line is this was bound to happen. It's probably bound to happen maybe even 1 or 2 more times, considering the amount of the change. But again, we're talking about outlier situations, and Ethereum in all of these cases has reacted very quickly, and it hasn't been the end of the world. We're not talking like Solana grade, we're down for 12 hours. This was, the chain continued to operate because of the execution clients. The consensus just couldn't come to consensus, and therefore couldn't finalize and pay out and all that kind of stuff. But it was still there. It was still there so that they could finalize it once they resolve the issue. So again, not a great situation, but certainly not the end of the world, and certainly nowhere near what we've seen on other blockchains that have failed. So anyway, I did see that Sunflower Mama did pop up a couple of their comments, but I was on a roll. So anyway, Geek of All Trades says, saying that ETH effed around and found out. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but
is that what you're saying?
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there was an outlier. There's an outlier. They didn't. This was a significant change, and to say that something is bug proof, no software is bug proof. There are bugs, and this is, like I said, this is no different. I mean, it all depends on how buggy the software is when you release it. And I'm impressed with what Ethereum generally releases. It is stable software, but what always gets me is it's usually never, they talk about the fact that they want client diversity. They want to make sure they got a lot of clients because in case one of them messes up. Well, the one that is the most popular didn't screw up. There's a reason why it's the most popular one, but they were encouraging people that probably would have been running on Lighthouse to run on Teku and Prysm. And they're the second and third most popular, and they're the ones that screwed up. So anyway, I mean, I get it. And the fact that it maybe Lighthouse could have a problem, and then hopefully Prysm and Teku would be fine in that particular situation. I get the reason for why they encourage it, but if most of the validators are picking Lighthouse because they believe that it's the most stable and the best client, there's probably a reason for that. But anyway, it's kind of an opinion. It's not it's a gray area. There's pros and cons to both of those. All right, let me go back and see who. Big Willie says happy Monday. Oh no, I already went past that. You did not have a great day today. I'm sorry to hear that, Integra guy. And oh, that's not good. Due to limited bandwidth, there is a possibility of a significant reduction in your video quality. That's not good. Well, that could be one of my nodes benchmarking. That wouldn't surprise me. So that would be a very limited time because that benchmark's pretty quick. But let me know if you see any degradation. All right, let me see if I was tagging anything else. Oh, Hawk Crypto says looks fine. Good to hear. Good to hear. So anyway, anybody else have any comments on Ethereum, or are you guys just over them and don't care? I just found it interesting. I find a lot of the things that, I mean, Ethereum is the #2. They're the #1 smart chain crypto. I find a lot of what they do fascinating. They've got a good organization. We can disagree with the direction that they took, but that doesn't take away from how effective they are as a decentralized software development, where they are taking people from a lot of different areas, sometimes volunteers, and bringing together a very complicated system. To me, that's impressive. All right. Well, that's all I'm going to say about that. Steven Sister says, don't care. Don't have any ETH left. Some other coin to the moon. Yes. I agree. I do not have, I do have some ETH, but that will be getting sold very shortly. But other than that, I don't have any ETH. But anyway, all right, well, let's take a look. In fact, I didn't share my screen yet so that I can look at the other camera. It's kind of a way around the system. Let me do share screen. Go here. My desk is a little messy, but not too bad. Certainly not as messy. Yeah, you don't need system sound, so go away. There we go. All right, add to scene. All right. So these actually arrived yesterday. So this one is thanks to Geek of All Trades, who recommended this. I haven't even opened it yet. I know. I'm just getting it out of the bag. So basically, this is a mount for the Hivemapper in my wife's car so that we can change it back and forth. This weekend, we took her car down to her in-laws, and sorry, could not. I didn't want to take it off of the windshield that I had it because I'm using the sticky. So I may eventually change that one out to this one as well. But anyway, so I got that. This was like $10. So I'm happy to get that. Some other attachments for whatever you need to attach. And now here is the thing that this is the second one I got. So if you saw me unbox the Dimo, the one Dimo had a 1-foot cable. The other Dimo had no cable. So I think that was a mistake, but that's fine. I was going to get replacement cables anyway, because 1 foot doesn't really get you too far. So I got 5-foot cables, 5-foot ODB2 cable. So there's the end that goes into the Demo, and this is the end that goes into your car. but this allows you to run it kind of down the dash and then underneath the floor mat, and then put it underneath the front seat. That's where I've put mine. So I haven't installed this one yet. I figured I'd show you guys first before I installed it. So I'll be installing this either right before I go to work tomorrow or after the stream tonight. One of the two. Probably before I go to work. But anyway, wanted to show you guys that. And from Tane sent a nice little gift to Sunflower Mama. You want to just hand it to me, or you want to come on stream and show? Okay, she's like, so she opened it because I was like, I have no idea what the heck this is, but this is really cute. So she's like, I love it. So it is basically like a Lego sunflower, which is really cool. Obviously, it's not truly Lego, but it's Lego type. She's like, it's better. Anyway, we all love Legos in this family, so she was very happy about that. And you said there was also like a scent. Yeah, it has like incense or something in it. So yeah, she was tickled to get this. So thank you, Tanes. Very much appreciate it. She loves it. So thank you very much. And then other thing I got today, which was supposed to be here yesterday, is 4070. So now King got one. I'm just gonna dump this out since it fits so perfectly in that box. Really hard to get my hands around. Toss that back there. Is an Asus Dual 4070. So definitely wanted to try out one of the new duals since they are now ball bearing fans, so they should last a lot longer than the sleeve ones that they had been using in the past. So let's go ahead and get this sucker opened up. Can I have the knife? Oh, did he? Don't you already have a 4070? No, I have a 4070 Ti. So that's why I kind of wanted a 4070 so I could do some comparisons. Oh man, I cannot see with all this light. I'm trying to cut that so that I can pull it out. You guys like how I always have the chum change in the opposite direction so that it looks good on camera? I am thinking about getting one from Gamers Nexus, though. They have a lot of great desk pads. All right, come on. Did you cut all the way through it? There we go. What did you say? Ah. An unopened cardboard box with the word unboxing. Oh, an open. Well, okay, hold on a second. So, yes, I didn't want to bore you guys with so I cut most of the way through it, but it was not fully cut all the way through it. I had to take a little bit of it off. So it had actually not been opened. It would just been. Here, you take that back. And thank you for the super chat, $1.99 super chat. Much appreciated. Not needed, but thank you very much. Appreciate it. And this is the one. These the KOs came packaged this way as well. And I always found this kind of interesting. They're like held down by like tension in this plastic. And I always like got confused by how the heck. So you have to take this part off. And then unpackaging steps. And I always get confused by this. It's like, okay, unpackaging steps. Oh, there we go. Had to turn it around. So the unpackaging steps are right there. So at least it does give you instructions on how to package and repackage. So I'm trying to remember exactly how this works. It's like extend out. Oh, there we go. Take those out. Take these two wings out. It takes out the pressure. And now you can just slide it out. And there you go. We're just gonna toss all that stuff. Take the quick start stuff out so we can see what's inside. Oh, no way. I get another one of these. Sweet. I get another phone holder. That is sweet. I'll have to see if my daughter or my wife wants it. Otherwise, I might do this in a giveaway because this would be a really easy thing to mail. But it's really cool. I like it. I do use it. There's my phone holder right there. I don't currently have it being held because I want my phone not to distract me, but I do use it fairly often, actually. I don't have it way over there. I usually have it in front of me, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that they gave that. It's a very useful thing at no charge. As I joked about in one of my shorts, I said, yeah, this is the real reason why I got the GPUs. I want these. Oh, well, that's not a giveaway, chump change. That's just calling dibs. That's kind of rude. Very rude. Anyway, all right. Gordon Murray had a question. What did he have? There is two versions of the Dual. Is it just the new version that has the ball bearings? Okay. So on the 4070, there's two versions. There's the regular and the OC. On Amazon, they both sell for the same price. So I obviously got the OC. But other than that, hold on. What is this? Some type of Asus card. It's almost like they got a collector's card or something. I don't know really what that's used for, but we'll toss that up there. And it comes with a quick start guide, something in Spanish. Anyway. And Sox fan says, good luck with Asus. Hope your GPU doesn't blow. Yeah, so yes, I am not blind. I have been seeing all of the videos about their motherboards, their AMD motherboards. Yes, Asus kind of sucks. I've experienced them trying to help my son with his GPUs and getting RMAs. If you are persistent, you will get what's right. But yeah, there's always this back and forth with being consumer friendly and financially responsible is the way that I guess that they'd probably position it within their company. There's a happy medium between those two, and no company seems to get it right. Anyway. It is what it is. It's a constant battle at every company about how important customer service is. So right now I'd say that Asus has leaned towards the wrong side, the dark side of the force. But hopefully they will take the feedback that's been coming from the market and all of the complaints and everything like that. Hopefully they're taking that seriously. I think some of it is somewhat overblown. I definitely actually do believe them when they put that disclaimer saying that Asus is not responsible for the returns of the board if you use this beta BIOS. That is boilerplate. That's just a standard operating procedure on anything that's beta. I do believe that they were genuine in that. Could they have come out with that a hell of a lot faster? Oh yeah, they should have said, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. That is boilerplate. We didn't mean to have it be on this. We encourage people to implement this BIOS. If you have any problems, we will fully stand behind our product, yada, yada, yada. They did eventually come out and say that, but boy, it took them a heck of a long time to do that. This is where you have to be able to act a lot faster from customer service than that. You can't, oh my gosh, this is so important. We need to get 3 different signatures on what's going to be said and what the announcement's going to be. No, that takes way too long. And if you're going to do that, you better have expediency in getting those approvals, because I think it was like 2 or 3 days before they came out with that. It was pretty ridiculous. So Paddywhack Miner. Oh, first of all, Hot Crypto Mining with the super chat. For the love of God, Sunflower Mama, go watch my new short. I promise it's worth the interruption of Mondays with Max. Okay. Did you go to watch it? Okay. Is it worth sharing here?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
It is? Okay. All right. Well, we'll share that a little bit later. Let me, and you said Paddywhack? Oh, Paddywhack. Anecdotally, how's the cooling on the duals versus the triple fan models for mining? That's exactly why I wanted to get a dual, because this is a much bigger fan than on the other duals. The other duals were an 87-inch fan. This is a 95-inch fan. So these are very, very similar to, I would say this is more similar to a KO than the previous duals, because the KOs had the 95 millimeter, not inch, millimeter fan, which is the same size as what you find. Well, actually, the 95 millimeter is what you find on the Asus Strix. The 87 millimeter, but it's a triple fan, you find on the Asus Tough. So yeah, you're talking about 387 millimeters versus 295 millimeters. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I want to do a comparison on, now again, they're not the same GPUs, so there could be a difference in could be a difference in the amount of heat generated, so it might not be a exact comparison, but I would expect the fan speeds, at least in the previous versions, the fan speeds on the duals are much, much higher than what you find on the Asus Tough. Partially because of the size of the heat sinks, but also because of the size of the fans. So I think it's a combination of the two. But this is a fairly beefy heat sink. You changed my screen. I got it. So yeah, so it's got a pretty beefy heatsink. Now this is not a 3 1/4 inch or 3 1/4 slot card. This is like a 2 to 2.5 slot. I think it's a 2.5 slot card. So definitely actually will fit in mining rigs a lot better. You know, the other thing about it is that with the type of and I guess the real key is going to be putting it on a ProgPow, doing a comparison on a ProgPow algorithm. Any of the other ones, it's probably not going to really show much because they're just so low power that there's just not as much heat to dissipate. So anyway, let me do some peels. I know everybody's like, why do you need to peel these things off? Because I do. All right, hold on. I need something to pull up on that. No thanks. I'd probably make that trade. Well, not a 4070, maybe a 4070 Ti. Yeah, I already have a 4070 Ti. So these will both go in the same rig. Although, here's the thing. I'm also... What was that? I know, I'm trying to make them here. So I'm... Well, I wasn't talking when I was peeling. I guess I could do another short of the peel, but I'm just going to do it on screen. Can you guys hear that? All right, that is off. Is that everything? Oh no, back plane, or not back plane, but back plate. That one's much more satisfying. All right, I think that's it. So this will go in. Oh no, and this is the one always that I always used to remind Panda about. Is the IO shield. You gotta take out all the plugs in order to get this one off. Well, I was gonna have him hear it.
You can't hear it. It doesn't.
Oh, okay. So anyway, there we go. Now all of them are off. It's a nice looking card. Little panda flick in the reverse direction. Yeah, I like it. It's a nice looking card. Certainly is nothing like the duals in past. This is much, much bigger, Like I said, this is like a KO. So everybody complained. I shouldn't say everybody. A lot of people complained about the pricing of these GPUs. This is a counterpoint. Let me get off of this. There we go. What were one of the biggest problems with the last rollout of the 3000 series? Well, one of the biggest complaints was there was no money to be made by the AIB partners. They all had to price things so much higher. If you notice this go around, there's a lot more that are priced at MSRP. This was an OC model that was priced originally at $610, but now they've lowered it down to $599. Obviously, things aren't moving quite as fast. That's not a huge price difference. But my point is that they're pricing them a lot closer to MSRP so that they can compete against the MSRP that NVIDIA set. So everybody's talking about how NVIDIA has raised the price. I feel like that price raise actually may not be driven by NVIDIA. Well, okay, yes, it is, because their chips are what drive what AIBs have to charge. So I'm sure that's obviously part of it, but they may not have changed the price of the chips and everything else much at all, maybe only a marginal increase, but change the MSRP in response to the AIB's complaints about the last go around and the fact that they had so much more trouble selling their cards against NVIDIA's cards because NVIDIA had such an advantage in profitability, and that's why they could make money at a lower price point. And so all the AIBs came second after NVIDIA. NVIDIA always sold out their stuff. Now you've got choice at MSRP. Yes, NVIDIA still seems to be selling things quicker, but there are other options, other very good options, other than the NVIDIA cards that are at MSRP. So I think that had a lot to do with the increase in the price, personally. And if you look at EVGA leaving the scene, that may have been a real big wake-up call to NVIDIA saying, we better treat our AIB partners a lot better so that they can survive. That, we lost one of, speaking as if I was NVIDIA, we lost one of our most important GPU AIB partners because of the way we operated. We better take a really hard look at the way we're doing things and see what we may change. I think that this pricing came as a result of some of the feedback that came from other AIBs to make sure, and NVIDIA responded to that to make sure they didn't lose any additional AIB partners and that they would be viewed as a better partner and just basically have a better ecosystem of technology. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I could be completely wrong, but that's what I was thinking. 4070 Ti Asus Max Voltage Edition. And what would be different about that one? Oh, would it have quadruple fans? Anyway, thank you for the $2 super chat. I very much appreciate that. Oh, it would be plaid. Oh, I like that. That would be cool. That would be very cool. It's funny you mentioned that. I have been approached by someone who was like 3D printing a Raspberry Pi case, and they said, hey, I'm like, no, but was like talking about making a 3D printed max voltage Raspberry Pi case. Anyway, all right, let me see what else I may have missed. Memory algos are garbage on 4070, unfortunately. Yeah, I kind of figured that would be the case because the bandwidth is less. So yeah, there's pros and cons to it. I'm kind of curious to see how it is when we go to proof of useful work. Because I plan on probably doing my 5950X and like the 4070 Ti and the 4070 on that rig all by itself. And so I'm basically going to swap cards. Right now I got 8 cards running on the 5950X rig, and then I have a separate rig with only 2 cards with just a crappy little processor type of thing. Standard mining motherboard, but I'll swap those out, and that way I can have something that could do pretty well on proof of useful work. So yeah, I'm really kind of curious about that, but I'll be making that switch before the benchmark comes out. Although I am thinking about, what was it? I want to say Valid AI, but I know I'm not getting that right. Mining King, what was that? What was the name of that site that had, it wasn't proof of useful work, but it was basically where you could sell your processing on that site. If you could share that. Vast AI. Thank you. I appreciate that. So thank you for the super chat, Sox fan. Good rant on Asus. Rest in peace for Caspa with Bitmain's CAS ASIC. Yeah, that'll be quite interesting. I have not seen what the specs are. Do we know if that is actually going to be better specs than the Ice River? Because I know see a lot of people saying, rip Ice River, but I'm like, well, why would it be if it's still better than what Bitmain's going to come out with? I don't know, but yeah, there won't be any GPU mining, or won't be much GPU mining on it. That's for sure, with all the ASICs that are going to be on it. Well, Mining King, I know you tagged me, but you didn't say anything.
It was because he typed in before.
Oh, you typed in before. Vast AI. Okay, got it. I see it. So anyway, but that's why I have Sunflower Mama. She's constantly monitoring the chat, so she actually saw it before I did. So appreciate having her here. DJ Mine says, have you seen some of the rendering Render is doing on Twitter? It's really cool. No, I haven't seen that at all. I do find it interesting. Somebody had said that Render is actually operating as like a smart contract on Ethereum. Yeah, with their gas fees, that could kill that project. Rabid Mining says, this blows. Ice River to more bad blood naming scheme. KS0, KS1, KS3. Ice River could just have early Bitmain test models for the KS3 is the real miner. That's possible. Ice River came out of nowhere and could just have been like an offshoot of an existing company. So I don't know. I kind of always wondered about that. But the fact that now Bitmain immediately said, yep, we're coming out with the Caspa. Yeah, it kind of leads a little bit more credence to that. Okay. All right. So that was all the unboxings. Let's see here. Went over that. Okay. Dero. So last night I was on a stream with Joe and Pat from Trillion and Pat Guyan, as well as Geek of All Trades. And I believe I'm missing one. Oh, and of course, Retro Mike. It was great seeing him on stream. I feel like he did like was that your first face reveal, Retro Mike Tech? As I know, I'd never seen you before. So anyway, so it was good to see you. And I think he needs to do that a lot more. That's for sure. But anyway, after the stream, we were talking, and I don't even know how we got on it, but Pat started talking about that he was mining Dero on his CPUs, and I'm like, really? So I've been mining Bitorium. He's like, oh no, you got to do Dero. It's more profitable. So after I got off the call, I started going through that, and it was okay. I was getting like 9.7 kilohash on my 5950X, and came out to about 40 cents is what it was going to be. I was like, that's not really that great. I was doing like almost 60 cents on Bitorium. And so I had, in the meantime, had been kind of typing back and forth. So again, thank you very much, Rabid, for your help on this. But I was going back and forth, trying to figure things out. So I was DMing Rabid. He wasn't responding. But anyway, he did eventually respond. Thank you, Geek of All Trades, for the 5 max voltage mining and crypto memberships. Very much appreciate that. And the winners are K-Trip, Mining Booms, Patrick Guyan, The Toxic Miner, and Aussie J Mining and Crypto. Congratulations to all the winners. Hey, was watching the Oilers lose the series. Okay. So anyway, I had all kinds of questions, but I thought I had it all figured out because I'm like, oh, okay, I got my payout this morning. You know, everything's good. But I mentioned what my hash rate was. He's like, that's really low. What miner are you using? And I'm like, well, I'm using the one that was on your website. He's like, oh, no. There's a newer one that does way better. You should be getting like double that. And sure enough, yeah, I did. I was doing 9.7. And then after that, I was doing like 21 according to the miner. Actually on the pool, it was like 19.3, 19.4, something like that. So, but anyway, significantly better. So went from basically 40 cents to 80 cents, almost 90 cents. So basically we're looking at about slightly less than 40 cents in power, 155 watts. At 10 cents is about 37 cents in night. So basically profiting 50 cents. Again, nothing to write home about, but it's actually more profitable than any of the GPUs I've got right now. Nothing's making 50 cents. So I was like, cool. So that, Mr. Retro Mike, is why I am mining Dero. Now, if you have another coin that you think I should be CPU mining because it's more profitable, let me know. I'm all ears. I'm all ears. So anyway, but yeah, the key thing is, let me take you through this. Let me see if I can pull it up. We're done with the camera, so I can get rid of that. Let me find it. Bring this over here. Come on. Do you ever have it where it gets locked between screens? I hate that. All right. Is this the right one? Yes, this is the right one. All right, let me go back to sharing that screen. Okay, so this is what I've got on this. I've got 8 GPUs mining Radiant, and then I've got my Astro Miner Dero. Oh, Retro Mike says, if you would have stayed on the stream last night, you would have heard the correct thing to mine. I was just so excited to change over to Dero. And I didn't leave the stream. I left the after party is what I left. Anyway, so you're not going to share, huh? You're going to keep it a secret? Well, at least DM it to me after the stream, because then I won't be tempted to tell everybody about it. Anyway, so let me take you to the flight sheet real quick. So again, it needs to be custom. Dero, then you set up your yes, and I'm mining to trade Ogre because I'm immediately trading out of it. I'm not holding it. And if I was, I would move it into some other wallet, which pretty much would be a hard, probably a command line wallet or some other wallet that's for Dero specifically. But anyway, this is where I'm mining because I don't plan on holding it at this point. Not that I don't believe in the project. I think it's a good project, but just where I'm at right now with what I want to accumulate. And then you configure in the miner, then you go to setup mining config, name it whatever you want. And then you put in this installation. In fact, I will put that in the chat in case anybody is interested. So that is the link, and the hash algorithm will fill in automatically, and then everything's pretty standard. Now, what's interesting is my mining threads I set to 30. It doesn't appear to be paying any attention to this, because when I had it on a previous one, it was paying attention to that. But now it doesn't appear to be. I'm guessing I might have, you know what, actually, let me go back into that. A lot of times in the extra, I know, because this is custom, it's not going to have the extra arguments. Anyway, this is probably just wrong. Maybe this is just -m equals 30. I don't know, or -m space 30. I'll have to look into that, but it seems to be running fine. I did increase or decrease the temperature downstairs as to when the fan kicks on. When I was first running this on Dero, it was getting up to around 74. Not dangerous or anything, but I didn't like it. I want it to be 70 or below is what I really want it to be at. So right now it's running at 68. Let me do a refresh, make sure. Yeah, it's still at 68. So yeah, anyway, seems to be pretty content at this point. And like I said, I'm getting 21 kilohash on it and somewhere in the range of around 80 to 90 cents. Alrighty. And Cherish, not recommended, but also never mind to exchange wallet if mining to own node. Yes, that's correct. You'll just be donating it to Trade Ogre. That is correct. So there are, if you're ever mining to an exchange, the only time you want to mine, or you should mine to an exchange is if you are mining to a pool. And you also have to be careful though, because sometimes when you mine to a pool, it doesn't matter. It still will not work going to an exchange. So you just need to be really careful and to verify. Yeah, of course, if you just want to try it and put it at the lowest threshold and see if it actually goes through, I've done that at times. But you definitely want to be sure you do it correctly. Dynex is a perfect example. I originally started mining it, was mining it to a pool, actually was mining solo to a pool, was getting a couple of, actually it was Caspa, actually, when I was mining solo, mined a couple of blocks, didn't get paid. So yeah, shame on me. You cannot mine to a pool when you are mining solo on Caspa. So lesson learned. So anyway, bottom line is things that seem simple aren't always so simple. So just make sure that you verify that your settings and everything are correct. All righty. Let me see if I missed any comments. King of all trades, how many minutes per day do you spend saying, what the F is my mouse? About 45 minutes for me. Oh, where the F is my mouse? Oh yeah, quite often. And here's, okay, so this happens to me at work. And I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but it only happens when I'm using a wireless mouse. Because what happens is I start moving and I look for movement and it's not moving. It takes a second before it to start moving again. And that always throws me off. It's like, wait a minute, I just moved it. It should be way to the right. And it's not, it's still way over on the left, but I think it should be on the right. So I'm looking over on the right. So that to me is what always throws me off. It happens to me at work because I use a wireless mouse at work. At home, I kind of go back and forth. This one can be wired or wireless. It's wired when I need to charge it. But if it goes to sleep very rapidly in order to save battery. And so, yeah, you got to wiggle it a little bit to wake it up and then look for it. But I never think about that. I expect it to move immediately. So anyway, but yes, that happens to me quite often, especially if I'm on a white background. It makes me crazy. Absolutely makes me crazy. So thank you for sharing that. All righty, let's see what else we got. Oh, you asked me what miner. Like I said, I provided the link. I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, Rabbit provided the link to me. And it's in the, hold on. Let me go back to the flight sheet and it's in the link, I believe. Astrominer version 1.9. That is, I believe, what we're looking at. So, what was that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you guys can't see it. You guys have bad eyes. Hopefully that's a little bit better. All righty. Let's see what else. Litecoin. What about Litecoin? Yeah, we were actually talking about this actually on Mistine Crypto's stream. Litecoin's been doing pretty well. Let's see where it's at now. Yes, I'm adding tabs. Let's go to, I've actually been liking CoinGecko lately instead of CoinMarketCap, just because they seem to have more. Oh, except this I hate. Okay, good. And then let's go to LTC. Although I really don't need to do that. I can just go down to here since it's, what? I'm looking for, oh, there. God, it went all the way down to 14. I will. Give me a sec. Why did it do that? There we go. There we go. So what is it up today? Up 3%. Oh, it's up to 87. Nice. So yeah, it's had quite the bump. I mean, just a few days ago, it was down at 78. So it's had quite the run. So yeah. And what we were talking about earlier today was Litecoin seems to be a leading indicator, at least it has been recently, a leading indicator of what price action other cryptos will have. So I'm hoping that this means that since this is happening now, that other cryptos will follow in the next week or so. So here's hoping. But one of the other things I did notice, again, Misty in Crypto, one of the things I did like about her stream today was her charting. I mean, I'm not sure if she did the charting or what, but it was spot on with ranges and things like that. So what I did find was that ETH was near the top of its range, while Bitcoin was near the bottom of its range. So found that interesting. So if you're in Ethereum, might be a time to sell out of Ethereum and into Bitcoin or something else. That's seriously what I'm thinking about doing. But who knows? It could break out of the range. Who knows? But anyway, just some things that I was thinking about. All right, what else? Oh, you already said that, or I already read that. I already read that. And oh, and Rabbit put it in the stream as well. And you probably already said like what the miner was. Yes, Retro Mike actually made a good point. Don't direct to exchange if the exchange requires a memo. Although some miners do allow for it or some pools do allow for it by giving you instructions on how to do the wallet.memo or something to that effect. They basically give you instructions of how to add the memo to the end of the wallet in order to have it go into the proper wallet at the exchange. I know, for instance, on this particular one, you can mine Dero to trade Ogre, but you have to follow special instructions because Trade Ogre uses an integrated wallet, while KuCoin does not, and you have to follow special instructions in order to be able to mine to KuCoin. So, yeah, there you go on that. Geek of All Trades, Deep Thoughts by Max Handy. Yes, good old times. Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy. Oh yeah. How's that? Hey, that would be really actually pretty interesting to actually maybe do that as I wonder if I can get copyright strike though. If I said by Max Handy, or even if I said by Max Voltage, because I wonder if I don't know. Anyway. All righty, let's see what else we got here. All right. Well, Geek of All Trades says wallet.memo, right? Well, like I said, everyone is a little bit different. So, what'd you say Mining King said? Memo, give all iron to max voltage. Is that Ironfish you're talking about? Anyway, good old Ironfish. I'm really kind of curious where that goes. Really curious where that goes. Was it all bluster at the beginning? I don't know. Very curious. Alrighty. Let's see what else we got. Flux update. Got a bunch of Flux updates. So, I actually didn't remember this, but I did notice I was looking through the Flux roadmap, and the Flux roadmap said that there was going to be the Parallel Asset 9 distributed in the second quarter. Well, we're well into the second quarter. We're halfway through the second quarter with no announcement as to when that is going to be. So I reached out to our favorite person over at Flux, Jeffkey, and no offense, Dan. And he did say it was still on track for second quarter. Now, what I had asked him originally was, hey, when the heck is the snapshot for Parallel Asset 9? I don't remember that being the case. But he said that, yeah, the last snapshot we've only used, remember it was the last snapshot was 2 parallel assets. And evidently we've only used 1 out of those 2. So anyway, so we still do have the snapshot. I don't even know, do we know what it's going to be at this point? I don't even think we know what it's going to be. Hasn't even said. I know one of the rumors was that it was finally going to be Atom, which is what it was. I think Parallel Asset 6 was originally scheduled to be that, and then a whole bunch of things jumped in front of it. So anyway, yeah. So that we have that to look forward to. I always think parallel asset distributions are always exciting. I was kind of hoping that the snapshot hadn't been taken yet, because I do own more Flux now than I did back then, so my parallel asset distribution would have been bigger. But whatever, it is what it is. Still never always feels like, you know, kind of like a gift. Oh, speaking of parallel asset distributions do not equal airdrops. There was something going on, and there's a lot more Discord hacks going on, and just be very careful. Do not click on any links. You DM'd by somebody, you don't know who they are, check to see when they actually became a Discord member. You know, you really need to think that whoever DMs you, that if you don't know who they are, even if you do know who they are and they're providing you a link, you really need to be very careful, because that person may not be being as careful. So assume everything is a phishing attack. Assume, and again, I'll repeat that, assume everything is a phishing attack, because some of the smartest people in the space have been phished. And perfect example is obviously Linus Tech Tips. One of his people was negotiating with somebody over multiple emails, and then that person finally laid the trap, put the proposal, was supposed to be the proposal, when in fact it was a bad file that basically hijacked the session tokens and took over the session, and now they had access to their YouTube account. In their case, in our case, taking over that session token can take over our accounts. Now, good thing is banks don't really allow that. Their tokens expire very quickly, but a lot of the crypto ones don't. So just be very, very, very careful. There's a lot of it going on. And why is that? Because they've had a lot of success, and success leads to more attacks. So let's not help them. Let's be very, very cautious and make sure. So Flux, one of the moderators, was hacked. They have it under control, but there was definitely something that went out about Dan saying that he was doing an airdrop or something like that. And then again, Dynex, one of their moderators, was hacked. They controlled it within 11 minutes, so it's under control. But yeah, it just need to be very, very cautious, everybody. Do not assume anything on Discord, any links or anything like that are real. Make sure you know the people. So, alrighty, enough of that. What else about Flux? Oh, there was an update to the daemon if you run a Flux node. So there was an announcement. I won't bore you with the details on that, but there were definitely some improvements, including the stability of the Flux nodes, which I think is very welcoming for anybody that has had problems with Flux nodes going up and down, which obviously you know I have. So I'm very, very happy to see improvements in the daemon, improvements in anything in the Flux node that's going to lead to more stability. So kudos to the team. This one seemed to roll out really smoothly. I didn't have any downtime with the upgrade, so that was pretty nice. Now, with that said, I saw the first two update, and I went, I'm going to control the rest of them. And so I updated the rest of them. What was interesting was one of them had already updated as I was going along. I didn't see that it already updated. So I told it to update after it already updated, and there weren't any issues with it. So anyway, all good to the Flux team. So that was good to see. And oh, and then there's also a new Zelcore version. And let me bring up something here. Give me a second. So thank you to Steven Cicero for sending me this. Very much appreciate this. Let me do, yeah, this works. Except I do need to, there we go. So version 7.1 of the Zelcore hardware wallet. Version 7 marks a new era as Zelcore onboards major hardware wallets enjoy Ledger and Trezor implementation. Now, as I was told today, that doesn't mean every single coin is available on Ledger and Trezor, but it is a step in the right direction. So they also, because they've had Ledger and Trezor integration before, this is just an expansion to it. So now they have BTX, Doge, DGB or Digibyte, ZEC, Ravencoin. I'm not sure if that's Ravencoin Plus. Because I see like a little plus symbol there. Anyway, Vertcoin and BNB, the BEP2 version of BNB. So also general improvements in hardware wallets implementation. And let's see if showing zero balances is now turned on by default. That's interesting, because it was turned off by default before. Not really sure why they made that change, but not a big deal. You can always change it. It will remember the state that the last time you had it open, that it was in. Raven asset list updated. Oh yeah, because again, now you have your Raven assets that you, again, Raven is like where you can develop a company and put assets in to Raven to list all your assets. Anyway, go watch some of the Savage Mind videos. You'll understand it a lot better. Certainly a lot better than I can explain it. Performance optimizations and general improvements. And then of course, bug fixing. So anyway, always good to see the Flux team hard at work. Oh, you know what? I never put that up on screen. Let me go ahead and do that real quick. So this is what basically comes up right after your wallet's updated. I forgot to take a screenshot. Thankfully, Steven Cicero didn't forget. So again, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. All right, remove that. Put that back over to here. There we go. All righty. So Matt K says, disabled OS updates on my Fractus nodes. I monitor with the FluxNode app website and manually update when there's OS updates. That is extremely smart. That's what I was doing. And I'm like, I'm not having any problems with my updates. I'll just auto it. I'll make it easy. And it's been a pain in my butt every time there's an update. It sucks. But anyway, I haven't made the change to actually get out of auto updates yet. It's probably going to take at least one or two more times where my node goes down, and then I'll finally do it. But anyway, alrighty. All right. So next subject is Dimo. So got my first Dimo payout, and wow, it just couldn't be any easier. You know, got them both installed. We drove on them over the weekend, so they both were qualified for a payment, and each one of the Dimos qualified for 141 Dimo. So basically I have 283 Dimo. Let's look to see what Dimo's at. So let me go up here. Dimo. Oh, it's down 10%. It was up earlier. But yeah, it's basically down back to where it was, approximately a little bit lower. But let's do 283. So received the payment of about $47. That's pretty cool. So if you look at this, so 47, again, assuming that the price stays constant, which it won't, it may go up, it may go down. But if we take, let me clear that out. Where do you, oh, there we go. I need to clear the history. Alrighty. So if we take that 40, so basically it was 369. Actually, it was 369 with 10% off, whatever that was. But anyways, about 370 with tax. So 370 per each unit. So times 2, 740 divided by 47. Oh, that's weeks divided by 4. So in less than 4 months, these units will break even. That's name a GPU where that can happen. Yeah, exactly. Now, of course, there's, I don't want to say conspiracy. It's not really about conspiracy. It's concern about what things that are connected to ODB2 connectors can do. And so do you really want to leave yourself vulnerable to having a device have access to that? That is a personal decision. I see what they're trying to do. I believe in what they're trying to do. So I don't think it's much of a concern, but that is my own personal opinion. And that is not an endorsement or recommendation of what you should do. But I'm happy to be profiting off of this. Well, not profiting yet, but paying it back and then eventually profiting off of it. So, and from what I understand, the longer you're on this, the higher the payouts become. So that's kind of cool. So they basically, the more loyal you are as a provider, the more you get paid. So again, pretty cool way of looking at it. So, alrighty. So we got that going on. Retro Mike says, another thing people don't talk about is that you can set the privacy zones in the app per var, for car, I'm sure what you're saying. Yes, that is very true. So I actually did that. And yes, you have the ability to set 12 hexes as you're setting this up so that people can't track you to your house. So I don't know everything that it's able to show to others, but basically that means that Dimo will not share your location data outside so that they won't know where you live. So obviously it's not too hard to figure out unless you put yourself on an edge somewhere that you can probably figure about where somebody's going to live if you think, okay, they're probably living somewhere in the middle of this zone, but at least you wouldn't know exactly where that person was living. So I like that as opposed to Hivemapper, which if you have the Hivemapper on going all the way home, it's going to track you all the way home and you can see it on the public map. So if you are doing hive mapping and you don't want that, make sure you unplug the unit. If you just hit stop, it won't necessarily stop it in time. So my suggestion is if you want it to stop at a certain point, certain distance from your home, unplug it. So anyway, Hivemapper, oh, I forget what my payout was on that, but yeah, it was about the same. It was like 450 honey. Let's see what that was. Let's go up here, go to honey, Hivemapper, and then go down here, 450, like $8.65. So, you know, again, nothing huge, but that makes a pretty good dent in my gas bill, my toll bill for the week. And actually last week, that's right. Last week probably won't be as good. That gets paid out on Thursday. Won't be as good because I only drove 3 days to and from work. So I didn't drive as much around. So I would expect next week it'd probably be a bit less, but I also had a lot less miles on the car, so I had a lot less expenses. So thing I like about the Hivemapper, it's if you're going to drive where you normally drive, even if you're taking slightly different routes in order to basically accumulate more honey and take less traveled routes, is that you're basically driving the same number of miles, but you're getting paid out. So everything that it's paying out is gravy, is the way I look at it. You wouldn't have been getting paid out anything prior to this. So I look at this as a way of lessening my transportation expenses, especially traveling to and from work. So love it. When yes, it says $8.65. That is what it says. It is pretty expanded, so I can't really expand it any more than that. But yes, $8.65. So like I said, again, all these things put together aren't going to make you rich, but they certainly do help. That's for sure. Mining right now, GPU mining especially, isn't making a lot. You need good power to basically eke out a profit right now. A lot of my cards are making like 5 or 6 cents a day net. So yeah, not making a whole heck of a lot, but that's better than making a loss. That's for sure. So, alrighty, let me see. And then Crankk, I'll cover that next time, but I did get my second Crankk hotspot up. And so now they're witnessing each other. So making 4 times as much. Let me see if I can find it quickly. Where did I put that? Did I put it here? Yes, I did. But let me move that over here. I don't know if there is. Yeah, so the problem is that there is some stuff on here I don't want people to see. But let's put it this way. So if we look at yesterday I made a total of 8.2 Crankk on one of my units, and on the other unit, oh, that's interesting. That's really weird. Yes, I know. The other one isn't populating correctly on the graph. Oh, that's interesting. That's because my session had expired. Let's see if did I sign into the right one? I did. All right, let's try this again. This one, yeah, the graph isn't right. I'm looking right here and it's showing all these payouts for the 15th, but the graph shows 0. That's interesting. Anyway, let's look at the 14th anyway. Let's actually look at the 13th, which this one made almost 11. And the other one on the 13th made 9. So basically making about 20 total. So if we go back to CoinGecko, all right, go back to CoinGecko and go up to Crankk. And then it's here. I'm not even sure if that's the same thing. That's right, because it's on the Cardano network, so that is definitely not right. Anyway, I'll go over this in more detail in a future episode, but it's good that I got them both running. It's beta. There's going to be some issues along the way. That's normal, completely normal. And these are things that they're going to be looking for some feedback on. So I'm happy to provide that. So, but in the meantime, we'll make some Crankk along the way, and it is liquid. I don't plan on liquidating my Crankk. I plan on accumulating that. I think it's got a lot of potential. It's at the very early stages. I think LoRaWAN networks do have their place It's just a matter of whether or not people will choose to adopt them for their IoT networks. So we'll see. We shall see. Good, because now it's time for AMAs, because that I think was the last thing I had on my schedule to talk about. Who had a question? I see it. Is there any point in getting into Hive? Have someone local selling a SenseCap M1 for $30? Hive. I don't know. I'm not familiar with Hive. I've heard of it, but I didn't know it had anything to do with SenseCap. If you're talking about helium, considering that they are probably selling for dime on a dollar at this point, because a lot of people don't understand that there's other things you can do with those units. It's not a bad thing to actually purchase. I have not looked at what the secondary market is for helium hotspots, but I would imagine that they're certainly a lot less expensive. So Mike the Miner says, how do I change my hotspot over to Crankk? That is something right now. All the betas are taken. So there's a pause, but there is a process to go through. They have an installer. Installer works really well. And you just have to not make stupid mistakes like I did. Anyway, but time will come. I know that Network Bits is on top of all that, and definitely would refer people to him as being the expert in this. Let's see. Soxfan says, what hash rate should I be at for Dero on a 3900X or 5900X? I got Dero at work. Oh, I got Dero to work. Well, I'm guessing that the 5900X should be about 3/4 of what a 5950X should be, because it's 3/4 the number of cores. It's 12 cores versus 16 cores. So I would guess it'd be around 15, slightly above 15 would be my guess for a 5900X. A 3900X, I do not know. Maybe Rabid Mining, if he's still here, can comment on that. King of All Trade says, I was thinking they were cheap, but can't seem to get a deal on used hotspots. I wonder if that's because people realize that there's a Raspberry Pi unit inside, and those are really, really hard to get. So, Joker Miner, are you late? Yes, sir, you are late. But always appreciate it to everybody that shows up, no matter when you show up. You can always rewind after we're done and catch everything that happened before. Oh yeah, Paddock Miner said meant helium. Okay, yeah. So I guess I answered that question the right way then. So that's good. Second TL, on your proof of useful work rig with the 5950X, what's the lanes for 2 GPUs, 16 and 8 or 2x16? Actually, the way the X470 works, first of all, it's PCI 3, not PCI 4. So I have 2 AMD boards, one that's in my computer and one that's downstairs in the mining rig. And the one upstairs is a B550. B550, you have a 16 lane PCIe 4.0, but if you put 2 cards in, they both go to 4.0. Not good. The X470 downstairs is PCI 3, but it will do 2 at 8 lanes each. So yeah, I may see, I'm not sure because of AM4 going away, if boards are less expensive or more expensive. More expensive meaning that they're in shorter supply and people still want them, or in higher supply because it's going away. I don't know. I'm not really sure. So I haven't priced it out, but I have toyed with the fact of getting a new motherboard so I could get 2. I'm not sure if the X570 will do 2 at 16 lanes. but it would do 2 at 8 lanes at a minimum at PCI 4. So at least most of the boards would. So anyway, I got to do some more looking into that. And then of course there's the whole thing of, would I just be better off getting, you know, a earlier generation Epic motherboard and be done with it and go with that route. And actually one of the things I thought about was, I wonder how good some of the previous generation Epics would be on Dero or some other CPU mineable core that Retro Mike may be referring to. And actually bridging that gap, buying the proof of useful work hardware now, mining on it with CPUs, but with the full intention of going proof of useful work in the future. So kind of toying with that idea. It's probably going to be a while before I'm in a position to do something about that. But yeah, it's one of the things I was thinking about. All right. And then Joker Miner says, I watch at work. LOL. So we'll get it tomorrow. Had funeral tonight. I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry for your loss. Retro Mike, you had a good antenna. All right. Bacon, eggs, and hash. Crankk is an IoT network. You can use existing hotspots for it. Need to have a LoRaWAN antenna. And yeah, a LoRaWAN antenna and a LoRaWAN basically hat on a Raspberry Pi. But the easiest way to do that is just to reuse a helium. And actually, both of my Crankk hotspots are dual mining. They are mining helium and Crankk. Now, with that said, I talked to Joe. There were some rumors about helium not being happy with that, and that they currently still control the units with the software that's on it, and they could basically screw it up by messing around with a shared file. So time will tell. And if that's the case, then I don't even know why they would do that though. They would basically be assuming that people would just, oh, okay, fine, then I'll just mine on helium. No, they wouldn't. They would be like, screw it. I'm going to reload this thing with only Crankk. It won't take me that long, and be done with it. And then helium would lose coverage. So it would be a really silly move for them to do, but wouldn't be the first time they made a silly move. Aussie J says, have you looked into DPU? I have no idea what that even is. But I will write that down and find out what it is, because I'm curious now. Maybe that's what Retro Mike was referring to. And now he's going, damn you, why did you say anything? Patrick Guide says, with AM4, you have 20 total lanes at disposal. 8x8 is the best you can do, since 16 times. Yeah, right. That makes sense. That makes sense. For some reason, well, hold on a second. 20 total lanes is to the processor. I believe the chipset has additional lanes. I'll have to look into it, but that was my understanding. Now, the chipset, though, is only doing PCI 3. It will not do PCI 4. So anyway, I will look at that. But yeah, he makes a really good point. DJ Mines, what did he say? I'd say wait to see payouts before buying anything for proof of use for. True, except my point is that if you can buy an Epic motherboard that is still very useful for CPU mining and that you can be profitable on it, you still have a use for it. And even if proof of useful work doesn't work out, you still have a use for it. So yeah, I'm not betting the farm on proof of useful work at this point, but I am thinking about dabbling in it. I'm curious if I put my proof of useful work rig on Vast AI, I want to see what maybe it would be able to do. I've looked at some of the prices on it. I'm like, wow, that'd be really cool if I could even just be sold, half the time. And I think if you're aggressive in your pricing, you can certainly get more profit in it than you can mining, at least in my looking at it. So I don't know. We'll when I get some time, I'll dabble in it. Bacon eggs and hash. What? You've got to make video on dual mining helium and Crankk. I will eventually. Like I said, we're in beta right now. I don't know a heck of a lot about the project, but yeah, I'll do it when it becomes available to the general audience. Right now, like I said, there were a limited number of licenses available, and when more licenses become available to where more people can do it, then I definitely will do that. Retro Mike text like, leave the CPU mining to me, Max. Well, I'm telling you that Chump Change is also CPU mining, and I think there's a guy named Rabid that does quite a bit of CPU mining. I could be wrong about that, but I think he even runs a Dero pool, if I remember correctly. You know, the one I'm mining to. Anyway, Patrick Guyan, 24 lanes in grand total, 4 to the chipset, 24 add-on cards or additional NVMe cards. Oh, okay. I thought for some reason I was thinking it was more than that, but it's been a while since I looked at it. You'll get $1 a day on Vast. Really? I think it depends on, oh, if you have two 3090s. Really? I was thinking you might get more than that. Anyway, I might play around with it just to see what I'm able to accomplish. But Brad says my rigs on Vast were rarely rented, like 1% of the time. Yeah, the funny thing is I've seen rigs that are rented a lot more often. So I feel like it has a lot to do with what your score is and what you are asking to be charged. So if you price it correctly, you might have more usage. So yeah, if you're sitting there and you only use 1% of the time, maybe you're priced too high for the market. Or maybe they're only looking for things that have like 4 or 8 GPUs with 16 lanes, and they basically just say no to everything else. That could be too. I don't know. But anyway, I've looked at the market and on that marketplace, and found it very interesting that as I'm looking at it, you can see things kind of jump in and out of use. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's see here. Or DM me in Discord with the instructions. Okay. Like I said, it's if you don't have a license, it doesn't really help you. Yeah, continue. You know, want to hit me up in like 2 weeks on Discord? Feel free. Just make sure that you make a comment in your DM that you're bacon, eggs, and hash here if you're something else on Discord. I don't remember if you had a different name on Discord. Like, for instance, I know like Steven Cicero has a different name on Discord. That always throws me off. Brandon Coin CPU mines too. Yes, correct. He does. He does. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about AM4. AM5 may be different. I have not studied AM5 as far as how the lanes are set up. But I know that, you know, the NVMe drive, at least one of them on AM4 will go direct to the CPU. It doesn't go to the chipset. Here by service. Welcome here by service. Retro Mike Tech owns all the Pigeon Coin nodes and will soon own the algorithm to finally run on 7950X. Oh, I guess I'm losing my moderator. Anyway, she's eating cake because, you know, cake. Part of the 60th wedding anniversary cake that we had for this weekend. It was my in-laws' 60th wedding anniversary celebration. They'd actually had their anniversary in February. And yeah, so we just couldn't celebrate with everybody back then. So everybody were able to get together at this point, and so that's why we celebrated it now. Let's see. Oh, okay. So Crankk actually has it on their website. Sweet. All righty. Well, thanks for the saying it's a good show. It's not quite over yet, but let me see if there are any other questions before I say goodnight, because this is a half hour past what I normally go, but I had a lot to talk about tonight. you know, you give me a day to think about things. That's what happens. All right. Well, I do not see any other questions popping up, but I appreciate everybody being here. As always on a Mondays with Max. If this is your first time here and you like what you saw, please don't forget to hit the like on the way out. Also, if you don't be a stranger, hit the subscribe and notification bell so you are notified of future streams. I generally am mainly a streamer, although I have been putting out some shorts and try to intend on putting out more shorts as time allows, as well as subject matter is applicable. And then as soon as I'm off the stream, I'm going downstairs, I'm plugging this sucker in and getting some more hash rate going. So I'm looking forward to that. Alrighty, guys. Well, again, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And you guys all have a wonderful night. This is the General out.